You're welcome! Genuinely nice to be here recording my new DVD. Yes, thank you, yes, first. The only place to be. Every time I come to the She, I can say the She now. I've been a New Brunswicker for 3 years, I can say the She. I'm one of you. I'm doing all the New Brunswick things. I love living here. As Corey said, I've lived here for 3 years now. I moved to New Brunswick for a better quality of life. I honestly believe this is the greatest place in the world to bring up a family. There is nowhere... It's true. It's been proven many times to be the happiest place in the world, the safest place, a wonderful place to bring up children. My wife grew up in a place called the Kingston Peninsula, near St. John. Does anyone know the Kingston Peninsula? Yeah, lots of people, yeah. I like going there, don't get me wrong. Her parents still live there. We go there quite a lot. I do enjoy it. We had our second child in London and we thought we want to, come here and give them the upbringing she had. But I'm not going to bang on about my children all night. I know none of you came here to hear about other people's kids, did you? No, you get bored of that shit at work. Margaret comes in with boring tales about how little Jimmy put his shoes on the wrong feet this morning. You go on Facebook, it's just reams of pictures of other people's kids. You're clicking like, but really you're looking for the couldn't give a shit button, aren't you? Let's be honest, Miramichi, we're all friends here. Let's be honest. Kids, they're a bit like farts, aren't they? You only like your own. Although I say that, if I'm at home on the couch watching a bit of telly, right, and I do a fart, I might sit there and enjoy it for a minute. Not just me then. Told you I was a fucking New Brunswicker. Whereas if my kids walk in the room, I walk the fuck out. So you could argue I actually prefer farts to my own children. It's nice to see a full house, so many happy couples. I see happy couples. Look at these happy couples. This looks like young love here. Look at these guys on the end of the road. This is definitely a new relationship. She's still got her hand on his leg. Remember those days? I've been with my wife 17 years. I look at that kind of passion and I think, new relationship or a fucking affair. One of the two. Which one is it? How long, not how long's his dick, I mean how long... That would be horribly racist to ask the only black guy in the room how big his dick is. That would be like the most racist thing. That would be so racist, it would be like a Russell Peters joke, and I would never stoop that low. How long have you been together? Although I can see, and congratulations. How long, madam? It's been 2010. 2010 years you've been together. That's absolutely amazing. Well done. The Son of God is here. Well, no. Son of God. Wonderful. How do you keep this... I mean, 7 years to me is still young love. I mean, that's still quite a fresh, new thing. But how do you keep this electricity alive, whereby... Oh, are you kind of like, I've got the only one in town, I'm holding on to it? Is that... Oh, the girl next to her just said, I have one too. These girls are collecting black men like they're Pokemon. Where's he tonight? He's with the kids. Good work. A modern woman. He's at home calling his mum to come and look after them while he fucks off out to doolies. That's absolutely wonderful. 7 years, but it's nice. I mean, it's nice to see, a happy relationship. I mean, it's genuinely a wonderful thing. 17 years I've been with my wife, and I mean, I don't see this kind of romance often at home. I mean, I occasionally walk in on it if I get home early, but it's a whole different story. But I do remember this, like 17 years. Like I remember, do we all remember the early stages of the relationship? Like, do you remember when you guys first, do you remember those early years when every day was like Valentine's Day, wasn't it? Every day, like things that I do now once a year on her birthday. Back then, I used to do every day. You know, back in when he was still trying to trick you into thinking he was the one. And I'm not talking about grand gestures. I'm talking about little romantic flourishes, little things that you know, now, 17 years in, it's kind of a thing you save for Valentine's Day. But back then, I did them every day. I mean, it was just little things, like closing the bathroom door when I'm having a shit. Remember that? No, me neither. No. Is he still doing that? What a fucking Casanova. What a... Beautiful. I'll be honest with you, ladies and gents, I'll be honest with you. I've been married so long now, that if I'm halfway through a poo, and I notice the door's closed, I open it just to piss her off. It's the small victories that count in life. It's the small victories. I've genuinely had the best 3 years of my life living in New Brunswick. You know, a lot of people ask me why I moved here, and the answer is clear. You know, I live in a beautiful place, a happy place. I mean, but don't get me wrong. You know, I have had to get used to some changes, obviously, because I don't know if you know this, but living just outside St. John, New Brunswick, is quite different to living in central London. Who knew? Who knew? I'll give you an example. In England, right, if you went to someone's house for dinner and they said, would you like a glass of wine? And you said, oh, I'd love a glass of wine, thanks very much. You know what they would do? They would leave the room and they would come back with a glass of wine. No caveats, no buts. In New Brunswick, whole different story, isn't it? You go to someone's house for dinner and they say, would you like a glass of wine? And you say, oh, I'd love a glass of wine, thanks very much. There's a sentence they will say that will make your heart drop, and that sentence is, I made it myself. What's the deal with the homemade wine? Where did this come from? And because I'm a moron, I did this joke on TV last year, which means that I've basically, in the last year, drunk more homemade wine than all of you put together. Because every fucking house I go to, people go, oh, James, I heard your joke about the homemade wine. You've got to try my homemade wine. I'm having to say, listen, Auntie Brenda, I don't want to drink any of your just add watered poison Kool-Aid moonshine, thanks very much. Buy a bottle, you cheap bastard. And they're so proud of it, aren't they? Like, call me old-fashioned, but I am a big fan of wine-flavoured wine. But instead, they're so proud of it, they're like, oh, James, you must try it. It's a special blend. It's pear and pubic hair flavour. It's barbaric. I was actually doing a show in a place a couple of months ago called Port Hawkesbury. Has anyone been to Port Hawkesbury? Yeah. Now, I'm not one to disparage, but it is a fucking shithole. This place makes Sussex look like downtown New York. I shit you not, the mayor of Port Hawkesbury is also the manager of the local doolies. Probably thought it was an easier way to control the local meth trade. So I walk out of this gig in Port Hawkesbury, and a woman, she sees me and she goes, oi, you, I've got a bone to pick with you, Sonny Jim. I said, oh, because I'm trying to be New Brunswick James, right? Because, you know, in London, everyone's very aggressive. And in New Brunswick, I want to be friendly. I want to be like you. So I'm like, oh, I'm dreadfully sorry, madam. How can I help? And she said, yeah. She goes, I heard your joke about the homemade wine, but joke's on you. I said, oh, well, why is that then? She said, because actually now we have shops you go to, and they'll actually make the wine for you. I said, yeah. I said, I think I've heard of that. It's called the fucking liquor store. Oh, good times. Another thing I've had to get used to here is the way in which you guys give directions. Unlike anywhere else in the world. I was home staying with my parents, where they moved house in England recently, and I was staying in their village. I was trying to find the local pub, and I went out and I said to someone, can you show me the way? And they said yes, and they used local landmarks. They said, you see the cathedral, turn left at the cathedral, turn right at the library, and you'll arrive at the pub. Not like that here, is it? Here, you give directions based on shit that used to be there. "25 fucking years ago." There is a commercial on K100, a St. John radio station, right now, an ad for a business, a new business. I have no idea what business, because it doesn't say. I have no idea where they're located, because it doesn't say. All it says is that they're located where Downey Ford used to be. Now, the weird thing is that half of you know where that fucking is, don't you? You know exactly where that is. I'm frequently stopped in the street by people who say to me, oh, it's you. You live in the Seeley's house. You live in the Seeley's house. I'm pretty fucking sure I live in the Mullinger's house, actually. I worked really hard to get that house. Now, I should point out, we did not buy the house from the Seeleys 3 years ago. No, the Seeleys lived there 31 years ago. So about 4 months ago, my wife sends me out on I'm trying to find a flooring company in St. John, because my wife does, because she knows that I do this for a living, obviously, right? And she knows that, you know, I like to drink all day. She gives me chores to stop me just drinking all day. So if I'm in Montreal, she'll be like, oh, James, you're in Montreal, you must go and see a shelf in IKEA at 10 a.m. Well, why 10? Can't I go at 5? No, you've got to go at 10. Send me a picture. She doesn't need to see that fucking shelf, it's just to stop me drinking all day. So she sent me out to go and look at this floor. She goes, you've got to go to this flooring company in St. John. So I'm trying to find that, and I end up at a mall in St. John called Lancaster Mall. Has anybody here been to Lancaster Mall? A few, yeah. A few people have. Anyone that hasn't been, it's a bit like the mall in Dawn of the Dead. But with a few more zombies in it. So I'm at this mall, and I went up to a lady. She looked quite smart, and she looked like she'd lived there for a while. And I said, excuse me, madam. I said, excuse me, do you know the way to B&N flooring? And she said, yes, I do. I said, wonderful. I'm in safe hands here. This is, I swear to God, the first thing she says. She goes, do you know where Zeller's used to be? Do I look or sound like I know where Zeller's used to be? Now, don't get me wrong, it would make perfect sense to say where Zeller's used to be if we were talking about, like, a disused building with a Zeller's sign swinging off it. No. The building in question, the building to which she was referring, was actually, like, somewhat behind where I was standing. Like, she could see the building in her field of vision. And it's now quite a well-known, established chain called fucking Walmart. She could see the Walmart sign in the periphery of her vision, but she still calls it where Zeller's used to be. Now, I was trying to tell this story at a gig in St. John 2 weeks ago in the new Yuck Yucks club there, right? And I got to this point in the story. A woman at the back stood up, like, quite angry, and she goes, she obviously wasn't a true New Brunswicker then. I said, well, why is that then? She said, because if she was, she would have said it's where Kmart used to be. Cheers. This is the friendliest place in the world. I love it for that. The first time I visited here was 17 years ago when my wife and I first started dating in London. And she said to me, we'd dated for about 3 months, and she said, oh, you should come and visit my parents for Christmas. I said, I'd love to. Wonderful. She said, I'll go home first and warn them what you're like. And then you come on the 23rd of December. I live in St. John. I'll meet you at the airport. So I send her the time, and I arrive at the airport. I want to make a good impression. I'm there at the airport, and I'm phoning her going, I'm here. And she's going, I can't see you. And it's a pretty fucking small airport. I was in St. John's. Why are there two places with almost identical names? It's to keep English people out, I know it, right? When you try and book a flight, it doesn't say, are you sure you mean St. John's? I was actually in St. John's last week, and I swear to God, I got in the cab, and the guy was taking me to the airport, and he said, where do you live? I said, St. John. He goes, you'll love this. He goes, about 3 times a week, someone gets in the car and goes, Crown Plaza, McAllister Place, please. And he said he loves it, he just fucks with them. He goes, we haven't got one of those here. He drags it out, right? But it's deliberate, right? I mean, clearly, why would you have 2 places with near identical... So I'm on the phone to her, and I'm going, oh my God, I feel like I'm on this. I said, listen, don't tell your parents whatever you do. I said, you stay there, I'll just get the first direct flight. Why would there be a direct flight from St. John's to St. John? Of course. So I have to come via Halifax. I eventually arrive at St. John Airport, but of course no one ever really arrives at St. John Airport, do they? No. I circled St. John Airport for 3 hours, then landed in bloody Fredericton. Do any planes actually land at St. John Airport? I've never been on one. Now, she, as I mentioned, lives in a place called the Kingston Peninsula. I knew nothing about the Kingston Peninsula. So I get in my rental car, I'm driving, feeling slightly embarrassed. I type into the GPS, the address. It says I'm 10 minutes away, I'm 5 minutes away. I pull over, I make sure I look presentable. I've been traveling for 26 hours by this point. I'm driving along, and then suddenly the land ends. And in the distance, I see a terrifying-looking ferry boat, like something out of Greek mythology. I thought I'd died, if I'm honest. I was being taken to the other side. I see this terrifying-looking boat, and I'm like, where the fuck have I come? Do they not know about bridges here? What is this place? And the boat comes across. Now, don't get me wrong, where she lives, she takes the Grand Bay Westfield ferry boat over, and I've grown to love it. There's beautiful views of the Kingston Peninsula, the St. John River. I love it. But what was weird was that every following year that I came to visit, I would arrive at the airport, I'd drive there, and there'd be, I'd say, not every year, every other year, there'd be a little sign up saying, ferry boat broken. We need to raise another $4 million. For another ferry boat. I'm thinking, $4 million every other year? Do you have any idea how many fucking bridges you could have built? And here's an idea, if they're not going to build a bridge, why don't they just put all the broken ferry boats back to back across the water? We'll drive across the broken ferry boats. There's a solution! So I finally arrive at their house, they think I'm a moron. The next day we go out to a restaurant in St. John. Now I didn't get the memo how friendly, obviously it's a cliche how friendly Canada is, but of course New Brunswick is the friendliest place in Canada, which makes it the friendliest place in the world, right? Which is a fact, but it's true. I come from the least friendly place. Right? London is not, where I live in South London, if you walk in a pub, there's always a guy there spoiling for a fight. You walk in, you don't make eye contact in a London pub where I lived. You walk in, there's always a guy there. He's waiting for you just to look at him so he can go, do you spill my pint? You're looking at my bird. Do you want to fucking fight? That's it. I mean, I'll give you a quick example, right? In brackets, I'll tell you a quick story. In London, I don't know who's been on the underground tube train in London? Yeah, a few people, right? It's a barbaric experience, right? Especially during rush. So you go down and the whole platform is full. There's more people on the platform than there are in all of New Brunswick, right? You get down there, it's total silence. Everyone's just sweating, they're crammed in, no one's talking. The only time you ever hear someone talk on London public transport, it's a fucking Canadian. So you get down there, and no one can move. You literally cannot move for people. Everyone's just resigned to this misery of life. They've just left, they've just left the bedsit they live in that probably costs £2,000 a week to rent, and they're in one room the size of this, and they get down onto the London Underground, and we're crammed in like this. And this is the successful people, incidentally. This is not quite, people say to me, why did I leave London? It's like this story sums it up. So you're on the platform and you're crammed in, and then you hear the tube train coming and you go, oh good, the train's coming, and the train arrives and the doors open and it's more packed than the platform. Everyone's in like this, you can't move. And then gradually, two people get on each train comes, two people get on. So you're there for about an hour and 20 minutes, you eventually get there, eventually get to the front, you're squeezing in, again, total silence. Again, I mean, this is what I love about New Brunswick. You can go months, if not years here, without making physical contact with another human being that you're not choosing to make physical contact with. Before you get to work in London, you've had your elbow in 15 anuses, you've had your face in someone's armpit. Like, it's barbaric. So you finally get to the front of the train, you get in there, and you're standing there, and then you squeeze on, and you're like this. And this is acceptable, this is normal. But then shortly before the doors close, there's always one person, one arsehole that goes, I'm going to get on, I'm going to be selfish. And they squeeze on, and you're like, oh, God, I mean, like, this is fine, this is not fine, right? And this person gets on. Now, again, total silence. What would happen is, if I was standing there, I would see this guy get on. I would look at the two people next to me. You wouldn't say anything. You'd just look at each other, go, yeah, we're doing this. We're doing it. You'd wait until the doors were about to close. They'd go, beep, 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 and all three of you at once, push the fucker out, like that, right? Push them out, right? And what's amazing is that person would fall out and go, yeah, fair enough, I did the same thing yesterday. Yeah, that's great, right? That was the norm in London. I now live in a place where if I spend 20 minutes waiting for the Gondola Point ferry boat, and I get on the Gondola Point ferry boat, and the ferry boat gets halfway across the water, and someone arrives late, the ferry boat goes back to get them. And we're all sat there going, yeah, this is absolutely right, we should be doing this. You want to know why I left London and moved here? That's the reason right there. That sums it up. Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, before I go back to the story I'm telling you, I don't know if this is funny or not. This just happened to me last week, so I've not told this story on stage, but I was on a bus on the Rossay Road trying to get into St. John. And I get on the bus and everyone's talking, which again would never happen in London. I'd say everyone, there's like 8 people at the back. They probably either know each other, obviously, or they take the bus together every day at the same time. Whatever it is, they're all chatting. I get on, the bus driver says hello, which would never happen in England. I get on the bus and the bus goes along and it moves for about 10 minutes and it stops at a bus stop. And it stops, it's a bus stop where Colwell's used to be. Now, we're at this bus stop for about 5 minutes, right? Not moving. There's been no announcement, there's been no explanation, no one's saying anything. Now, in London, if a bus stopped at a stop for more than 2 minutes, there'd be a full-scale riot. Like, and I mean a proper riot. Like, people, like 20 people pummeling the driver, everyone fighting. Like, that's not an exaggeration. Someone would get macheted for that kind of shit, right? And instead, everyone's just sat there, total, just chatting away, no problem at all. Now, I'm trying to be New Brunswick James. I'm trying to be New Brunswick James, just going... But I'm trying to get into town to go to the pub and have a pint of Moosehead, right? So I'm a bit edgy. Now, I'm starting to get more and more agitated, which no one notices at first. But then I build myself up to a level that I mean, in England, it's basically New Brunswick's version of a full-scale riot. And I'll tell you what it was, because they all picked up on it at the back. They all panicked at this point. This is New Brunswick's version of everything kicking off big time. Right, I did this. And they all clocked it. And this is New Brunswick's riot. It was this. Oh. Oh. Right, that. Right, I did a tut and a oh, right, and they all at the back went. They froze up. And one of the guys in the conversation decided to explain to me why we were stopped at the stop, right? Now, just to be clear, no one had conferred. There had been no announcement. And he said, oh, sorry, you don't know, do you? He goes, John normally gets on at this time. I said, you what? He goes, yeah, normally John gets on at this time, so we're obviously just waiting for John. What an amazing place to live in, where the driver doesn't even need to say, oh, ladies and gentlemen, I believe John normally gets on at this time, so we're going to wait. He just stops and goes, they'll all know. It's beautiful. Of course, I mean, there are downsides to everyone knowing, everyone knows your business here, right? You can't do anything. In London, you could just go around completely anonymously. If you misbehaved one night, no one would know. I mean, this is what I love. I mean, I was picking up my son from school last week, end of last week, and I arrive at the playground, and a woman, another mum, right, she sees me and she goes, James! 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 And I'm like, where's the fire? And she comes over and she goes, I saw you in Sobeys earlier. What am I supposed to do with that information? I'm absolutely... And this is why marriages last so long in New Brunswick. It's beautiful. Because you could never have an affair. You couldn't have a fucking affair in Miramichi. Can you imagine if one of you tried to check into the rod with your neighbour's wife? There's no way. Everyone's related, everyone knows everyone. You couldn't have an affair and get away with it. And also, statistically, chances are if you did have an affair with someone, halfway through the affair, you'd discover you were fucking your aunt. It's got a thumbs up from the nice lady there. Thank you. Sorry, I sidetrack a lot. I was telling you a story. We go to a restaurant in St. John, right? So we go to a restaurant. And so again, it's my first time kind of dining out with my then girlfriend, of course, now wife's parents. And we go into this restaurant, and again, I didn't get the brief that, that it was a friendly place. So we go into this restaurant, and I'm thinking, right, don't make eye contact with anyone. You don't want to get in a fight, right? So we go into this restaurant. I accidentally got quite drunk. Because, well, it was lunchtime, so what are you going to do? And I decided I need to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm thinking, right, eyes forward, don't look at anyone, don't look at anything. You don't want to get in a fight. I want to make a good impression. They already think you're a moron. You've already been to bloody St. John's. So, you need to make a good impression. The last thing you need right now is to get in a fight with someone because you looked at them wrong. So I go to the bathroom, on my way back, I'm doing the same thing, always worked in London, eyes ahead, don't look around. I didn't notice that there was a man sat there eating a bowl of pasta with the back of his chair up, like we tell our kids not to do, right? I come walking through thinking, don't make any trouble, don't make any bother. I knock the back of this guy's chair. I swear to God, his face goes flying forward into the bowl of pasta. The rumble of the table, the clinking of everything, like the whole restaurant turns to look. I can feel my girlfriend's parents' eyes drilling in the back of my head. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's all going to kick off now. I may as well just concede defeat, let him punch me in the face, right? Before I have a chance to even think that barely, the chair ricochets back. He smashes the back of his head on the floor. I'm thinking, oh my God, the whole restaurant goes. I'm thinking, oh, it's all going to kick off now. Danger, danger, danger. And I swear to God, he looks up at me, face covered in pasta, and goes, sorry! I thought I could live here. And 15 years later, which was 3 years ago, my dream came true, and here I am. But I'll be honest with you, I'm still having to get used to the friendliest now. Like, I'm still surprised by it. I mean, just last year, there was a sunny day in July. What do we call it again? Summer, that's it. Now, I'm in the Sobeys. I'm in the Sobeys in Quispamsis. Do we know Quispamsis? Yeah, stupidest name for a place ever. Quispamsis. And I do know the joke about Kiss Pam's Quiff, and my wife's name... My wife's name happens to be Pam, by the way. And yes, I have. I've never said that before. And now she's going to see it for the first time on a DVD. Great. Her parents were like, we should all sit and watch the DVD together. No, let's not do that. Where was I? Yes, so I'm in the Sobeys with my youngest son. His name's River. He's 2 years old. Well, I say he's 2. He's actually 3, but he's not talking yet, so we tell people he's 2. Saves answering awkward questions, you know. Why is your son such a... Oh, he's 2, leave him alone. We're just going to keep it up till he's 30. Why isn't he talking? He's 2, get him a beer and shut up, right? So I'm in Sobeys with River, and we're doing the weekly shop, right? And I get everything off the list, and I thought I'd done a good job. I got brand label when I was supposed to get brand, and I got compliments when I was supposed to get compliments, right? Did all the right things. So I get home, and my wife says to me, and I thought I was going to be in the good books, and she goes, where's River's hat? And because I'm a man, I said, what hat? Didn't know he was wearing a hat. She goes, what are you talking about? He's been wearing a hat all day. And I said, oh, well, that's that gone then, move on. I'll put the groceries in the fridge, all right? And she goes, no. She goes, go back to Sobeys and ask at the Lost and Found. I said, Lost and Found? Because you all know what Lost and Found is, do you? Yeah, we don't have Lost and Found in England. It's not as friendly as here. It's not like this, right? In England, we have a different thing called, we have a whole different system. It's called Lost and fuck it, I'm having that. Works a treat. How do you think I got this nice jacket? Someone left it lying around on a rack in H&M. So she's saying, go back to the Lost and Found. Now, I must admit, I thought she was winding me up, because she does this to me. Because she's obviously from here, and she knows I'm not, she's often telling me things, rules, that I don't know if they're true or not. Just to mess with me. Like, I don't know, maybe you can help me with this. How many people are familiar with St. John? Few people, right. For those of you, the main shopping street in St. John is called King Street, right? And maybe you can help me with this, because again, she told me this rule, and I don't know if it's true or not. She told me that you're not allowed to walk up or down King Street between 10 and 4 on a weekday if you've got more than one tooth. I mean, I've had a look, it looks like it's true, it looks like that is the rule. I mean, I've never... So I go to the Sobeys, right, and I'm sceptical. I didn't know if she was messing with me, but I thought I'll do it anyway. So I went in and I said, I went up to the customer service desk and I said, hello, I'm dreadfully sorry to bother you, but do you have a thing called Lost and Found? And she said, yes, I do. And I'm like, oh, Canada, you are just wonderful, so friendly. But she could see the skepticism in my face. So she decided to prove it to me. And she said, I've actually got lots of different boxes with all the different lost items. I'm like, oh, New Brunswick, you are just the best. So she goes down to prove it. So she pulls out the top box that's down there. And she pulls this box out, and it's like I say box, it's like a grey type office tray with masking tape on it and Sharpie pen writing on it, right? And again, if you're looking for something to do on a Sunday, it's worth taking a drive to Quiz Pam's to have a look at this. She pulls out the box, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up, please do go and have a look, right? She puts it on the counter. It says on it, on the label, it says on it, lost belts. And I swear to God, there's about 35 belts in this tray. Who are these people going into Sobeys to the weekly shop? You know, you see those abandoned trolleys full of stuff, and they go, think I need a shit. It's going to be a big one. I know, I'll take off my belt, and then leaving their belts behind. And the management of Sobeys honestly think that someone's going to come back, oh, left my belt. Any chance? So I'm staring at these belts, just completely flummoxed. And I didn't notice she was talking to me again. She was like, what have you lost? What have you lost? I said, oh, I'm dreadfully sorry. I was just looking at the belts. I said, I've lost my 2/3-year-old's sun hat. It's a little hat. And she goes, oh, that'll be under children's accessories. Friendliest place in the world, right? So she goes down to get the children's accessories box, but there's another box, tray type thing, in the way of the box that she has to move to get to that box. But she goes down and she starts pulling this other box out, and she's keeling over from the weight of it. So again, New Brunswick James says, oh, can I help? Can I come around and help? She goes, no, I can manage, because she's a New Brunswick lady and they're strongest women in the world. And she goes, no, I'll be fine. So she pulls this tray out and she's shaking with the weight. And she pulls this tray and she plonks it on the counter. Now again, if you weren't sold on the belts, this'll seal the deal for a weekend getaway to Quiz Pam's. The label says on it, lost car keys. Biggest pile of car keys I've ever seen in my life. Question. Who are these people walking out of Sobeys in the middle of nowhere with 10 bags of shopping going, guess I'm walking. Beautiful. I do absolutely love living it. Of course, I mean, one problem I've got right now, I mean, genuinely, there's no way, you know, Canada is right now the coolest country in the world. Like in England, there was a cover story in The Economist magazine where they said that Canada's leading the way in Western and liberal values. The New York Times just did a feature, they do a thing every year, the 100 places you have to visit. Normally, number one is like, it's a city like Stockholm or Paris. This year, it was just all of Canada, right? And everyone's looking to us for answers. They're like, how are you all living in such harmony? How are you all so happy? And it's a wonderful, I mean, let's face it, I mean, you might not agree with these policies, but we do have the sexiest Prime Minister in world history running the country. Before Justin Trudeau, I had never masturbated over a Prime Minister before. Well, Margaret Thatcher once, but I was young. And New Brunswick's leading the way with this. New Brunswick's the place people look to. They're like, you know, we got the cheapest cost of living with, the happiest people, we're having the most fun. And the problem with this, though, is that everywhere I go, like I go back to England and I do tours and people are interviewing me and they're like, so, you know, we all thought that your career was going to be over when you got to New Brunswick and it seems to be going well. You know, what's it like? I'm like, it's amazing. For the one-bedroom apartment that I had in London, I was trying to bring up, you know, 2 children in this one-bedroom apartment. I was able to come to New Brunswick and buy a house on the water and it cost 79 cents, right? And I'm telling all these people these stories, and then I post all these pictures on Instagram and Facebook about how great life is here, how many, you know, because I like to call what we have here, we don't have traditional luxury. We have a different thing, it's called discrete luxury. We have the luxury of time, the luxury of space, the luxury of community, the luxury of friends, the luxury of all of these wonderful things that bring us all together. It might not be diamonds and pearls and Cristal champagne, but who needs that when we've got each other? And that's the beautiful thing about living here. And I go and tell people, well, thank you, it's true. And I tell people this in interviews all over the world, and then the problems start. Because I get the phone calls from my friends in England going, James, Brexit's a nightmare. Your life in New Brunswick looks amazing. What have we got to do to move there? And all my American friends are phoning me going, James, we've accidentally elected a fucking moron. Your life in New Brunswick looks amazing. What have we got to do to move there? And I'm having to say, whoa. Hold up a minute. Because as we all know, the reason New Brunswick is so awesome is because it's just us. The last thing any of us need is every limey prick I came here to get away from swanning in and ruining what we've got going on. I mean, I don't normally agree with the policies of President Trump, but I think we're going to have to build a bloody wall around New Brunswick and make the Brits and the Americans pay for it. But again, a lot of what I talk about is things that happened to me a long time ago. Like, I've been here 3 years. You think I would have become accustomed to things. But you don't get a rule book. And this is the thing. You were all kind enough to welcome me into this beautiful province and allow me to do what I do. And it's my job to try and fit in. I mean, so I shouldn't have a rule book. It's my job to ingratiate myself. But I keep getting caught out. Like, I didn't get a guidebook. I didn't get a manual. I didn't get a phrase book. So as a result, I've been here 3 years. And only last week, I got caught out again. I was doing some work with a guy. We were shooting this TV show. And at the end of the day, he said, James, you got any plans on Sunday? I said, I don't think so. Why? And he goes, do you want to go and watch midget hockey? I said, you what? He said, do you want to go and watch midget hockey? I said, yeah, I thought that's what you said. I said, I knew it wasn't very politically correct here, but that's terrible. But I said, well, you know what? I've been here 3 years. I've been struggling to get into hockey, so midget hockey sounds awesome! Sign me up! Where have I got to be? I went there, he's like, James, why aren't you watching the game? Why aren't you watching the game? I'm like, oh, sorry, but, where are the midgets? Because they don't do this to you in other countries. No, in other countries, right? When I was 18 years old, I was backpacking around Indonesia. I was walking down the street. I was there on my own, because I didn't have any friends, whatever, right? I'm walking along, and a guy sees me, and he goes, hey, crazy English. I said, yes. He said, do you want to watch midget wrestling? I said, hell yes, not disappointed at all. Did exactly what it said on the tin. Another reason why I'm so happy to live here is the place that I lived in London, South London, was a crime-ridden place. There was a lot of bad things happening there, and I wanted to come to a safer, happier place. And I'll give you an example. And I'm not making everything I tell you is true, and this is a true story, and you can Google this. 2 things happened on the street that I lived on in South London, actually the week that we left. So we moved on the Thursday. On the Sunday night, there was a drug murder on our street. Like a person was found killed, and the police found £1 million worth of cocaine in the wall of the house. So whoever did the murdering, not very good at looking for shit, clearly. That was the Sunday. And on the Tuesday, there was a mob boss who'd fled Sicily in the 1970s during the mafia clampdown, come to England, set up a new identity. He was like the capo de tutti de capo, like the head of the Hells Angels, to use a local term, right? He was captured. And just to be clear, this guy, we knew him, right? His wife and kids had no idea of his true identity, right? He got married, had kids, they had no idea. I didn't know every morning. Morning, Don, how you doing? That was it. I had no idea, right? And he was captured after 30 years on the run. He was on the FBI's most wanted list. He was in the top 10. He was captured and taken back to Sicily for one of those maxi trials, they call them. I don't know why they call them that. It has absolutely nothing to do with sanitary towels. Anyway. So he is captured. Now, I tell you these 2 things, A, to illustrate how bad an area I was in, but more to the point, neither of these 2 stories, which, incidentally, the mob boss story made front-page news in America. He was on the front of Time. It was like 30 years on the run, finally captured. Where I lived, neither of these 2 things were deemed extreme enough to make the front cover of the local newspaper. That is how messed up stuff was. Literally, it was page 19, mob boss, article this big, mob boss captured, Langroyd Road, sent to Sicily. Page 21, drug murder, Langroyd Road. That's it, right? And I'm like, thank God we're getting out of this place. I've got 2 young children. I cannot wait to get to a safe place. I arrive in St. John. My first day, I pick up the Telegraph Journal. The headline says, "Crime Wave in St. John." I thought, oh no, not here too. And I swear to God, the headline underneath said, 50 chickens stolen. I thought, I'm staying here. And what was so beautiful about this story was it was actually a house on the Kingston Peninsula, right? Now, how New Brunswick a crime is that, right? The woman was interviewed, and obviously she's on the Kingston Peninsula where they don't lock their houses ever. So any thieves in the house, take a trip. But she said in this interview, she says, it's very odd. She said, because my house was unlocked and my cash and jewellery were all visible, but they left that and took the chickens. And I just love the idea of like a New Brunswick crime syndicate being there and going, oh, boss, there's cash and jewellery inside. No, we can't use that. Get them fucking chickens in the van. Beautiful. Do you guys get the Telegraph Journal here? Is it delivered here? I love any newspaper that arrives in a blue condom. My favourite page in the Telegraph Journal every week, I look forward to it. My favourite page is what I like to call the St. Stephen page. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say it's the page where they fill us in. It's not lots, it's one big story on what's happening in St. Stephen. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but if you get the St. Stephen page and you hold it up to your ear, it's a bit like a shell on a beach, how you can hear the waves and the sounds of the sea. If you hold it up to your ear, you can actually hear the editorial meeting at the Telegraph Journal offices that generated this piece of award-winning journalism. You can. It's the same every week, pretty much. It's the same. Like you can hear hustle and bustle, and you hear the editor say, good work, team. We've got the scoop on the 50 chickens crime. Meeting adjourned. Then he goes, oh, whoops, silly me, I almost forgot. He goes, he turns to the features editor and he says, what's happening in St. Stephen this week? And you can hear like a chair going back as the features editor stands up and he says, oh, good question. He goes, same as last week, boss. Fuck all. And the editor says, well, you've got to come up with something, otherwise the St. Stephen people will stop buying the newspaper. So they do. So I've brought with me tonight my 3 favourite St. Stephen stories of all time, just to share with you. Fuck all, see? It's... Now, we'll do this like top of the pops, right? I'll start with the 3rd best and work up to my favourite. So before I start with this, just a quick reminder. I come from a place where page 19, mob boss. Mob boss, 30 years on the run, this big. On page 19. Drug murder, this big. I now live in a place where on page 6, taking up 70% of the page, is the life-changing revelation that light-controlled crosswalk to be installed in St. Stephen. You want to know why I moved here? This is exactly why I moved here. That's the 3rd best. The 2nd best is, well, just join in. Mob boss, drug murder. So this again. Mob boss, drug murder. Correct. I now live in a place where taking up page 3, a full page in the main section of the newspaper, the revelation that Burger King opening soon in St. Stephen. Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you are probably looking at that and going, but James, it's all in the headline. Burger King opening soon in St. Stephen. Why is there 1,000 words underneath said headline when it's all in the headline? And the grammar experts amongst you might be looking at that and saying, why is the opening soon in inverted commas? I say, good question, well put. Allow me to read the first paragraph of this piece of award-winning journalism. Burger King opening soon in St. Stephen. Nobody would confirm nor deny on Monday exactly when, where, or any other details on Burger King's possible plans to open a restaurant in St. Stephen. It's a rumour. Somebody started a rumour which, lest we forget, the first word, nobody was willing to confirm, nor deny. They couldn't even find one person in the street willing to deny this piece of made-up bullshit. Hence, when the journalist submitted this lie, the editor said, well, we can't have a headline saying Burger King opening soon in St. Stephen if no one will confirm nor deny it. And someone went, I've got an idea, boss. What about if we put the inverted commas in quotation marks? Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, but James, that's silly. It can't say that. And it does, for the record. But it can't say that because there's a picture of the Burger King right there. I say, good question, well put. Allow me to read the caption on this picture. This is what the Burger King may look like. Shown in this file photo is the store in Fredericton. Now again, some of you might be thinking, but James, in the opening paragraph, they have established that this is a made-up lie. What is the other 900 words after that? Well, again, fair question. I will jump ahead to the second to last paragraph. The general manager will probably be responsible for the overall running of the restaurant. Yeah, that's pretty much how every business has been run since the birth of time. But that's not even the best one. I will be honest with you. If I had 2 copies of this, one of them would be framed in my office. This is probably my favourite newspaper headline of all time. But please, let's cast our minds back for the final time. I now live in a place where on page 2, taking up 90% of the full page of the newspaper, is the revelation that St. Stephen couple hopes to open Pit-a-Pit. Hopes to. We've all got a fucking dream. Hopes to. Apparently all they need is a location, investment, funding, and to get in touch with the franchise owners. But we're in safe hands here because this guy Robert, he actually has some form in this business. So I think we're in safe hands. He actually worked at a restaurant that, well, I happen to know it's called the Lobster House, but it doesn't say that here. It says where the Starboard Grill used to be. He worked there between 1990 and 1991. 2 days he was washing dishes, 2 days. Hopes to. I mean, I love that we live in a place where hopes to. I mean, I hope to eat mini eggs out of Cindy Day's undies. That doesn't mean... In brackets, quickly, I've got to tell you a story. I was doing this joke at Yuck Yucks in Halifax about 6 weeks ago. I did that joke, Cindy Day's, eating mini eggs out of Cindy Day's undies, right? They laughed, like you did, but there was one massive laugh at the back of the room. I thought nothing of it, right? After the gig, I'm outside. They have a little, like, merchandise table set up outside. So I'm standing there, my head's down, I'm signing something, my head's down, and there's people around, and then suddenly I hear the people around me kind of go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm thinking, what's going on? What's going on? I look up, Cindy Day. is walking towards me. The people around me are kind of edging away. Like, this woman's like just bought a CD and she's like, fuck it, no, I'm not sticking around for this. And I'm just frozen. I'm thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She comes up, and you know what? I've always had a lot of respect for Cindy Day anyway, but this is amazing. She comes walking towards me with a face like thunder, excuse the pun. Good night. She comes walking towards me with a face like that. Like she looks mad. She goes walking towards me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is awful. Like I love my job, and I don't set out to offend. And oh my God, I hope I haven't. And she just comes up, and she comes really close to my face, and the people are around, and it's just silence in the foyer of this club. And she just comes up really close to my face, and she just goes, "Sorry, I haven't got any mini eggs on me," and walks off. Cindy Day, I salute you! Love that woman. Funny enough, I didn't know she was coming to that gig that night. I mean, the only contact I've ever had with her prior to this was she and I both followed each other on Twitter for about a year before that. That was it. I didn't know she was coming. And we've actually had no contact since because I just think it's just too beautiful a moment to be sullied. Like, it's just the greatest moment ever. I would also like to point out, because I take the piss a bit, I did this tour day in St. Stephen last night. And in the afternoon, Mark Burnett, the amazing producer of this show, give it up for Mark Burnett, the man that put all of this together, Something Funny Productions. We got to St. Stephen nice and early, so we could pop in to the recently opened Pitter Pit. And I want to shout out, just because, I take the piss, but I love New Brunswick success stories, and I love the fact that in New Brunswick, we do have to work harder to make things work. And this is the thing about New Brunswick, is everyone here is a grafter. Everyone that's doing well has grafted to get there. Nothing lands on your lap in this province. Everyone in this room, the fact that we're out tonight, we all work our asses off, and we're good people. I love this couple. They had a dream to open a Pitter Pit. They hoped to open a Pitter Pit, and they did it. And we went in to see them last night, and they said that not a day goes by without someone walking in and go, "Did you know that English prick does a joke?" Delicious, but they, after I did this joke at Harbour Station in St. John, someone filmed it and put it on YouTube, and I actually did get contacted by Pitter Pit head office shortly after, and this is a true story. This Pitter Pit in St. Stephen, and I just love New Brunswick success stories, that's why I'm sharing this. It had the highest ever opening for an Atlantic Canadian Pitter Pit in history, and the second highest opening in all of Canada, right? Which is amazing and beautiful, but let's face it, what the fuck else are you going to do in St. Stephen? I said at the start of the show about the fact that no one likes kid stories. We don't like talking about, people don't like hearing about our kids. And I'll tell you why that is. It's because as parents, we tell the most boring stories about our kids. Because generally, one person in the couple says, "Oh no, don't tell anyone that happened," right? And so we go into work and we say, "Oh, Johnny put his shoes on the wrong feet," and people hate them. I think what we should be doing as adults, as parents, is actually making young people realise how fun being a parent is. It's settle down, be in a committed relationship, have a family. It is fun, and we don't tell the stories because I'll tell you why. Things happen. I mean, I'll give you an example. My mum, we were in England for my eldest son, his name's Hunter, we were in England for his 6th birthday, right? We're sitting around the kitchen table, and my mum goes, "Oh, I can't believe it's Hunter's 6th birthday." She goes, "I remember your 6th birthday like it was yesterday." And then she bursts out laughing. And I said, "What is it, Mum? And what is it? What's so funny?" She goes, "I'm not telling you. You'll just put it in your act." I said, "I would never do that to your mum. So when you're watching this DVD at home, Mum, I'm sorry." And she said, "All right, I'll tell you, but you've got to promise never to tell another soul." I said, "You've got my word." She said, "On my 6th birthday," and again, it's like these stories that we think are embarrassing, but they're not. They're charming and cute, and we shouldn't be ashamed. Rather than telling boring stories, we should tell fun stories. And she said, I was sitting on her bed in her bedroom, age 6, waiting for my party to start, right? And she got out of the bathroom and she came out naked, which again, I mean, we weren't a naked house as such, but sometimes you've got to do what you got to do, right? Now, she came out and it was the time of the month, so perfectly normal. She had a tampon in, right? That is perfectly normal. She said, me, age 6, she walks out of the bathroom, me, age 6, pointed at her lady area and said, "Mummy, mummy, why is there a mouse in you?" Those are the stories we should be telling. The funny shit, right? Same thing in my house. I'll do it to myself now. This was the week before last. I haven't told this story on stage before because my wife's been at the shows, and again, she made me promise that I would never tell anyone this happened, but she's not here, so... I was giving my 2 kids a bath. Hunter is 6, River is 2/3, right? They're in the bath. Halfway through the bath, Hunter stands up and he says, he starts like yanking quite hard on his, no, easy, on his testicular bag. On his and he's going, "What's this for, Dad?" He's still got the annoying British accent, right? What's this for, Dad? What's this for? And I'm like, easy, Hunter, careful. That's a very precious part of your body. No, it's not, Dad, it's pointless. It just hangs there. I want to pull it off. No! What is it? And I'm like, well, I've got to step up here as a dad, right? My wife's out, what am I going to do? So I said, well, Hunter, that's your ball bag. What's a ball bag then? It's pointless. I don't want it on there. It's bugging me. I want it off, right? And I thought, I'm just going to tell him the truth here. I'm going to have to step up, be a man. He's 6. It's time he knew. So I said, Hunter, it's actually not pointless. It actually is the most precious part of your body. Why, Dad? Why? I said, Hunter, your future children live in there. True enough. He accepted that. I thought, end of conversation. I got them dry, I got them in their jammies, I put them to bed, I read them The Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson, I put the lights out. Done deal. I thought, that's it. My wife came back from work, I had a gig, so I put my suit on, I'm walking out of the house, I walk past Hunter's room, his light is on, after lights out. We don't tolerate any nonsense in our house. So I'm surprised to see this. So I open the door, and I swear to God, Hunter is standing on his bed with his pyjama trousers round his ankles, going, "Hello! Hello! I can't wait to meet you!" Those are the stories we should be telling. And similarly, I mean, married life is one. People always complain about married life, and comedians do, and people do. And I want to take away from that. I mean, I love being married. I think it's the most wonderful thing in the world. When you're young and I never did because I wasn't very popular, but when you're young and you're sleeping around, like male or female, you have to impress the other person. You've got to put on a bit of a show. My wife doesn't. If she decides, while during the making of the beautiful act of lovemaking, if she wants to pick up the latest Danielle Steele novel, she can, and I don't mind. In actual fact, we tend to time our lovemaking to the release of the latest Danielle Steele. Thankfully, she knocks them out quite fast, so if you ever see a man in indigo go, "Fucking yes, that's me," knowing I'm getting some tonight. Now, there's a story I'd like to tell you, which I haven't really shared many places, but I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to upset anyone. I don't think of myself as a dirty comedian. I'm just an honest comedian. So this show can end one of 2 ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what we call in the business a tester joke. To measure the level of what you're comfortable with. Because I want you all to leave happy. I don't want anyone leaving and going, "Well, that was offensive," or anything. I want you all to be happy, and I want us all to be friends. We're all fucking related, let's be honest. So but I equally don't want anyone upset. So this is kind of, I'll do the joke, I'll do the tester joke, and see how you get on with it. And think of it as a choose-your-own adventure. We can go with the ending that I want to go with, which I think you'll like, or we can go the clean way. So I'll just start with this, and this is a true story. I am not getting any younger, none of us are. I'm turning 40 in 3 weeks, ladies and gents, which again, thank you, it's a wonderful, wonderful time. I had that thing happen to me 3 weeks ago, that momentous day that we all remember. And everyone here remembers it. It's the day, you remember certain days in your life. You remember the day you lost your virginity, You remember the day that you got married. You remember the day that puberty started. And equally, as I found out a few weeks ago, you never ever forget the day that you find your first grey pubic hair. Am I right, ladies and gents? You never forget that day. It was a day like any other. I woke up. It was a Monday. I will never forget that. It was a Monday. I walked into the bathroom. I thought it was a normal day. I walked into the bathroom. I looked in the mirror, and there it was. I went, oh, the fucking wife. Oh, very good. Okay, we okay, madam? Are you in the middle? Are you okay? Are we okay? Okay. I think we're safe. Lock the doors, Mark. So, as I've got older, things have started happening to my body that no one tells you about. Now, again, I'm 39, turning 40. I had no idea this was coming. I had no idea this was... I'm not saying that I've gone fully incontinent. But I am saying that a thing started to happen, which no one told me would happen, where I would go for a wee-wee. A pee, I think it is here. Pee. I would go for a pee. I would finish said pee, and for all intents and purposes, the pee was over. It felt over. I would shake. I would put my member away, and it would carry on pissing. Has this happened to anyone else? Is this... 39 years on this planet, and this has never happened to me. And I don't mean like put it away a little dribble. I mean like a whole other piss. Like a whole other piss comes up. Where is it? And I've tried everything. I stand there for like 10 minutes, shake. That's got to be done. Sometimes I'll stand there so long, I'll do 2 pisses. Shake, put it away. I've tried everything. I tried. At night, I put my pajamas on. I sit on the toilet. Right? I'm on Facebook for 40 minutes. My wife's going, hurry up! I'm like, give me. I sit there 40 minutes thinking, right? My willy must think that I've gone to bed now. So that's got to be it. Like I've done the wee. I've been sat here 39 extra minutes. That's got to be it. I pull my pajama trousers up. As soon as I do, everywhere. So, massive. Like I walk into the bedroom. My wife's like, what is that? I'm like, I'm saying, I was washing my face and the water spilled. She's like, again, every day. And I don't know where the wee's hiding, because I do the wee, and then I'm pushing the bladder in. Like, I'm standing there, like, with the member out, I'm like, pushing the bladder, punch it. And I don't know where the wee's hiding. It's as if, like, the wee is like, it like leaves the bladder, and it gets halfway through the penis, and it goes, hold up, lads, let's fuck with him. Oh, look, can you feel that? He's pushing the bladder. Good luck, mate. Oh, he's doing the shaky. He's doing the shaky. Yeah, good luck with that, mate. Oh, here we go, lads. He's putting us away. We're in the pants. Go! Now, I'm here to tell you that I have actually found a solution to this. It is kind of a public service announcement. This is what I've started to do. I finish my pee. Finish my pee. And I sometimes even say out loud, I'll say, oh, that was a jolly nice wee. I think I'll put my member away now. And what I do is I start to put it away very slowly, but what it doesn't know is I've got this thumb over the elastic of my underpants. So I pull the member in, and just at the exact point where the cloth of the underpants hits the member, I pull it back out and the piss goes in the toilet, right? Works an absolute treat, right? Public service announcement. I will admit there is some spillage, this system. There is some spillage where the we appears on the seat, which again isn't ideal. Which again, I'm telling this because there's going to be ladies in the room who, they met their husbands at, age 20, and then when they meet them, they're young, they're men, they're foolish, they wee on the seat, and then the women train us out of it, don't they? They teach us not to wee on the seat. There's techniques, isn't there? Blowjob strikes, that kind of thing. You train us out of the wee on the seat thing. And I'm telling you this because I think when the wee reappeared due to this technique, where at least it's not in my underpants anymore or all over my trousers, I think my wife thought that I was doing it on purpose. I bring back the groceries and I'm in the kitchen and I'm there and she's like, "You moron, I wish I'd never married you. Why did you put the bread in the freezer, not the fridge, you fucking idiot?" I'm going, sorry. I think she thought I was walking into the bathroom and starting a wee and kind of going, "Yeah, well, fuck you." In fact, it's not that. Just telling you this just so you know why it's there. Now, a few weeks ago, I think it's fair to say, my wife's quite easily distracted during sex. If she hears a text message go, or the kettle boil, or notices the Danielle Steele book on the side table, she'll stop a minute, I need to get that text message, make a cup of tea, right? Whereas for me, I think for most men, when you're in the thick of it, not many things can make you stop. I mean, someone's saying no, obviously, but apart from that, if I'm in the thick of it, the house could be burning down around me, and I'll be like, "Fuck it, I'll put it out when we're finished," right? That's generally how most men work. Now, this is what I wanted to tell you. Strap in. Not strap on, strap in. My wife and I were making love about four and a half weeks ago, right? It was the time of the month. It was, Danielle Steele was out. We were making love. Now, it was beautiful, of course, because all love making is beautiful. I hate those men that complain about sex with their wife. It's sex. You're the luckiest thing in the world to be having sex with anyone. It's the most beautiful thing. We're making love, so it's amazing because it's sex, but we're doing it the normal way. Is this how you want? Young people, is this how you do it? Are you guys 7 years? Are you still doing it? Are you, mate? I'm sure you're into more, probably got better moves than that. But after 17 years, it's kind of this, isn't it, lady? We're making love, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful, and again, it's a happy time. I'm enjoying myself. It's sex and it's wonderful. However, halfway through the act of lovemaking, my wife suddenly pulled out of the bag, don't know what she did. She suddenly pulled a special move on me. Now, I had no idea what it was. All I did know was that I liked it. Now, it's fair to say most ladies have a special move in their arsenal, don't they? Ladies, you all have a special move. Now, you don't waste that special move on a first date, do you? No, you wait till 6 months or a year, you've been dating the person, you think, "Oh, I'd love him to propose." I think tonight's the night I'm going to pull out the special move. I'm sure you have a special move. And of course you do. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what women... I don't really know that. I mean, it could be, I don't know, clamp and finger up the bum. Something like that, right? just something like that. I don't know. Oh, what a coincidence. Okay, that's okay. Jolly good. Every lady has her special... And again, you don't waste it. You never waste it on a first date. Only a hussy would waste it on the first date. You save it for the engagement, or you save it for the wedding night. He's finally seen it through. He's shown the commitment on the wedding night. You're like, he deserves this. Clamp, right? You give him the reward, right? Now, my question is this. My wife pulled out this special move that I never felt before in my life. After 17 years, on a Monday night, my question is, what the fuck was she waiting for? Presumably other men have enjoyed this move prior to us meeting, But she waited 17 years. I mean, I'm there. It's the most amazing I've ever felt. I just went from like, well, isn't life wonderful? I'm making love to suddenly, oh my God, I'm seeing stars. I feel in ecstasy. I've never taken heroin, but I imagine it's what heroin feels like. All of the wars of the world were gone. The troubles were gone. I did not care about anything. I have never felt so good in all my life. And I didn't have even time to think this, but I'm thinking, like, what? It means that on our wedding night, she was lying there in her wedding dress, this beautiful romantic evening, and I'm making love to her, and she thought, I could pull out the move. Nah, fuck him. He can wait, right? Our first anniversary, I've shown a year's commitment. That would have been the time to pull it out and go, yes, this is the time for the special move. But no, she waited. She waited 17 years to a Monday night. A Monday, rainy, cold winter's evening in New Brunswick. And she was no preamble, there was no big up. It wasn't like like if I was her, I would have dropped little hints during the day, right? Like maybe over breakfast while I'm putting the butter on her toast, she could have gone, you don't know what's coming tonight. But it's gonna be you hard, or something like that, right? Or maybe during the lovemaking, maybe she could have just kind of done this. This is what I would have done. I would have been lying there and just kind of gone, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. Boom, right there, right? But it came out of nowhere. And what was amazing was she's a genius. Like in some ways it's genius. She was completely poker faced. Like there was no preamble. In actual fact, she had her normal sex face on, which is this. Right? No sign of it. But I didn't care about any of this at the time. All I knew was that I knew that I'd found heaven. I knew that paradise existed. I had never felt so good. This beautiful act of lovemaking just transitions into this orgasmic, life-changing, beautiful moment. I am just all over. I'm convulsing all over. I have never felt so happy. And again, it's like every problem that has ever occurred to me never happened. The future is bright. The future is everything. The future is paradise. The future is happiness. I have never felt so orgasmically beautiful in all my life. And at one point during this pure ecstasy, my head just shook like this, and I turned around, and it turned out the dog was licking my ass. Now, I will be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't stop. In actual fact, the next time we made love a few weeks later, I actually rubbed peanut butter around my ass. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been James Mullinger. Thank you all very, very much indeed for coming out tonight. It genuinely means a lot. Thank you. I've been James Mullinger. Good night. Thank you very much indeed. I love you, Miramichi. Please keep in touch. Cheers. Good night.